So even the legality and the legitimacy of the elections held on the 26th of October are questionable. The 8th of August are only questionable on the basis that the IEBC, together with agents within Jubilee, engaged in a criminal enterprise where they falsified the results as was being transmitted from the polling stations. If anybody had any doubt or any fears about it behoves of this nation, unless there's a constitutional resolution of the crisis we have in Kenya today, if anybody had any doubt as to why Raila Odinga should be sworn as the President of the Republic of Kenya, if you go through this document, you'll come to the conclusion that truly not only was Raila Odinga and His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka elected on the 8th of August 2017, but Kenyans should go ahead and take the position which they have taken and have been touring together with the principals, that we should not be afraid to run away from the truth, which is that the Kenyans made a decision on the 8th of August 2017. And those are the facts. We cannot have alternative facts. Yeah, facts are facts. We can have our own opinion. But what happened on the 8th, the result of that event is contained in this document. So I would probably, if need be, answer questions, if need be, but at this moment, I'm calling upon our technical team. They know how they have organized themselves to take you through this document. Kake is there, and Honorable Ososi, I invite you to take. But this is it. This is it.
Our presidential candidate, Honorable Raila Odinga, our deputy president, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, our principal and my party leader, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, all guests who are here today, Amjambo. Now, today is a very historic day for this country. And as a technical people, we are going to unmask the truth of what happened on the 8th of August 2017. My name is Godfrey Osotsi. I am a nominated member of parliament on ANC, which is a party within the NASA. But today, I am here as an IT expert. I have been practicing IT for the last 16 years as a scholar, as a practitioner, and as a global expert, being a member of the famous Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers Computer Society, which is the largest international grouping of IT experts globally. So what we are going to talk about here is serious business, technical business that we have gathered since the 8th of August. So without taking your time, I will dive into the presentation. So basically our presentation is going to cover the 4 areas. We are going to release the server information, And as Honorable Rengo has said, this information is uncompromised, authentic information. We are also going to tell you how we got it. We are also going to demonstrate to you what happened. What happened, because we have been talking about hacking. How did it happen? And then finally, we are going to tell you the authentic result and who was the winner of the August 8th presidential election. So, you are aware that the Supreme Court made a ruling that the election of 8th August had numerous illegalities and irregularities. That is common knowledge to everyone. And this presentation is going to demonstrate how that happened. We have heard about the audit. The NASA coalition made a request to the Supreme Court for the server to be audited. I was one of the leaders of the technical team, together with the Honorable Moses Kajwang, who is not here today, and we tried our best to have the servers audited. But our efforts were undermined by IEBC. They only gave us skeleton information. That information, we discovered a lot of anomalies just on that skeleton information. We are also going to tell you about the IEBC application and entire IT infrastructure at IEBC. And as you are aware, the Supreme Court issued an order for the servers to be opened. As we speak now, IEBC is in contempt of the court order issued by the Supreme Court. But as NASA fraternity, we will not wait longer. We are going to tell Kenyans and the world the truth in those servers. Next. So what we have is uncompromised, unfettered result based on the server access. And you are aware that on the 10th of August, our principals wrote to IEBC and announced results for the election. And the figures are there. I will not go into the figures now, but later on in the presentation, we'll tell you more about how these figures have been arrived at. We have the results of the 2017 presidential election to the details. From every polling center, over 40,000 polling centers. And those who understand the IT technology, data is usually stored in a database. And the database of IEBC has the following fields. It has the polling station name, the polling station code, the polling center name, polling center code, the county assembly ward name, the county assembly ward code, constituency name, constituency code, county name, county code, and most importantly, the EVID serial number. Every kit that was used in the election, the data was captured indicating the serial numbers of those kits, and then the names of the candidate and the results. So we have data from every polling station in this country. And this is just a sample of the data. As Honorable Rengo has said, we are going to unveil this data to the media. This is the data indicating every polling station and how the presidential candidates fared. Now, this diagram that, I'm sorry, is not very clear, but it is the basic IT infrastructure for IEBC. And you have heard about the cloud. This rectangle here is what is called the cloud. It's based on technology called MPLS, the Wide Area Network Technology. Now, this is where Safaricom, Airtel, and other telecommunication providers were offering services. Then we have here the disaster recovery, we have internet, and we have the private cloud. Now, this diagram, up to date, IEBC has not explained the limitations in this infrastructure. Because clearly, those who understand IT, you will ask a number of questions, especially related to security of the infrastructure. Now, that is a topic for another day. But it is important to understand that the IEBC infrastructure was interfered with at some point. And that is how the results were manipulated by those individuals. Next slide. Now, I'll show you some diagram here. Kenyans went to the various polling stations and voted. And a Form 34A was generated. These results were fed into the EVID kit and transmitted through the cloud. Now, the problem occurred here after the clouds. That's where the hackers entered. And that is why in the Supreme Court audit report, you heard that several emails were used to hack into the system. One of which was Chebukati's email, Chirichir, and some other people. And we will be demonstrating to you what happened. Because at this point, some of the forms were deleted from the server. Then, whatever they wanted displayed to Kenyans is what was displayed in the public portal. So things were done here. Fraud against Kenyans was perpetuated here. So I would like to demonstrate briefly to you some of the logs we got. This is the log file. A log file basically in a system is a file that captures all the transactions that happen, be it at the database level or the application level. So if you try to delete something or you try to edit or manipulate data, the log file will pick it. And you can see that emails, for example, Chebukati's email has been used, someone called Nganga and others. I would like to demonstrate to you how some of the forms were deleted from the server. So, if you search through the log file and search for the word delete, you realize that a number of files, like there, a file for Rangwe constituency was deleted. Another one, please. You can see a file was deleted for Rongo constituency. Go on, please. Again, you can see some people had access, anonymous access to the system, not logged in. Nyakach constituency was deleted. And as we go on, we will be showing you the variances in the data. The deletion was done so that they can vary the data. Gishugu constituency, go on please. Seme constituency, Gilgil. So this, from the IT perspective, deletion of a file, those who are in the IT industry know that that is an audit, a serious audit issue. Files are never deleted that easy. If you want to make a change to a document, that change must be done within the confines of the system, not to go to the database and delete the files physically. So you can see clearly, go back to the diagram, please. This is where things happen. And Kenyans can remember in a letter from Chebukati to Chiloba, the CEO of IEBC, he pointed out that his email was used to access the system, and he did not give authority. That is there. The question is, how many other people accessed the system that we are unable to determine because we were not given all the logs by IEBC? You know, it is possible many other people may have gotten unauthorized access to the system. After they had done their fraud, the data was now displayed on the portal. So what we have on the portal is not the results of the election. It is manipulated data. What we are going to give you today, it is the uncompromised and authentic data representing the free will of Kenyans who went to the polling station to vote, and not what IEBC showed us on their portal. Go on, please. So I will demonstrate to you the variances, sample variances between the data on the EVID and what IEBC announced to Kenyans on the Form 34C. For example, Mombasa, we are comparing two candidates, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Now, IEBC announced 99,190. The EVID for Uhuru Kenyatta was 90,935. Clearly, you can see there was a variance of 9.08%. For Raila Odinga, IEBC announced 238,809, but the EVID was 278,172, a variance of 14%. So negative 14%, clearly demonstrating that Honorable Raila was denied his votes by over 14%, and Honorable Uhuru added more votes by 9%. Go to Kwale County. Uhuru, IEBC results, 43,694 against EVID of 61,288, a variance of 28.7%. Now, it goes on like that. This is just a sample constituencies. We are going to give you data for all the 290 constituencies. So you go down, please, scroll down for me, and you can see that right, the totals here now. For, you can see the totals for Uhuru Kenyatta. The total for this sample of constituencies is 937,615. Those are IEBC. The EVID, sorry, go down. 838, 266. We have this variance of over 100,000. For Raila Odinga, again, you see the negative variance of about 176,000. Now, that was a scheme of things which ended up denying Honorable Raila Odinga votes in some places and giving Honorable Uhuru votes in some places. And according to our analysis, Honorable Raila won in 28 counties, that is Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Taita Taveta, Mandera, Isiolo, Kitui, Machakos, Makueni, Turukana, Samburu, Trans Nzoia, Narok, Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma, Busia, Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii, Nyamira, Nairobi, prisons, because he didn't have a county for the prisons, and then diaspora. Those are 28, basically 26 constituency, 26 counties, prisons and diaspora. Honorable Uhuru won in 21 counties: Garissa, Wajir, Marsabit, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, Nyandarua, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, West Pokot, Uasin Gishu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Baringo, Laikipia, Nakuru, Kajiado, Kericho, and Bomet. So if I win in 28 counties, 26, plus the 2 special ones, and the other person wins in 21 counties, clearly who is the winner? Those are questions that Kenyans need to ask themselves. Now, from our EVID analysis, what are the final results? From our EVID analysis, the final results are as displayed here. And as we said, these results are uncompromised unfettered, and authentic. Raila Odinga got 8,104,744, representing a percentage of 50.24%. And Honorable Uhuru got 7,908,215, representing 48.92%. So clearly, we did not even need a rerun, because our constitution is very clear. To become a president, you need to win with 50% plus one. This is additional analysis. The total number of votes cast was 16,163,713. The spoiled votes were 30,458, and the valid vote was 16,133,255. And these pie charts demonstrate the orange part is what Raila Odinga got, and the green part is what Uhuru Kenyatta got. So basically what we are trying to say from our analysis done by the team, our IT team, the same team was at IEBC when they were trying to engage IEBC to do the system audit. And the same team has been looking at this data. And we can confidently tell Kenyans that the person who was declared the winner was the loser. The winner of the election from these results is very clear who it was. So we had demonstrated this data to you earlier and said we have this breakdown for every constituency. And even if you want every polling station, the data is available, so that you can look at the fraud that was perpetrated against the people of Kenya. Go on, please. Now, having seen the results, the question is who won? We now have the answers. Who won the election? The second question is, what do we do? We need to seek for electoral justice. How do we proceed? Now and in future, this country needs serious electoral reforms, because this kind of thing cannot be allowed to go on, because we cannot get our people to polling station to vote only for the results to be stolen. So that basically summarizes our presentation, and I'm sure there will be a session for question and answer, which will be guided by the Honorable James Orengo. Thank you.
I think the only thing I need to add is that the results that were announced through our leader of the campaign team, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, on the 10th of August, were not very far off the mark, but those should be seen in the context of preliminary results, because we had not received all the data. But what we have today confirms that announcement that was made by Honorable Musalia Mudavadi on the 10th of August. The second thing, just as a reminder from what I said earlier, IEBC is not in a position to give Kenyans a compendium like the one we have produced here, showing results from every polling station. In fact, in the name of transparency and accountability, it was so easy for IEBC within no more than 10 days after the elections to have a document like this containing results from every polling station, every constituency, every county, and particularly, to ensure that, the results that were announced contemporaneously are the true and genuine results. Now, having said that, now we are prepared to answer any questions. Anybody with a question, our technical team will be ready to answer. And is there any hand? I'm not seeing any. Oh, okay, go. In the extreme right.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Nemeth from Radio France International. My question is asking you, how did you access that data who's supposed to be on the cloud, if I understood well? Did you yourself hack the servers? Now, can you explain how you accessed those figures, please?
Let me answer it, because probably it's also a legal question. All that I can say is that this information is from the server, and it is authentic. And the only way you can rebut it is by IEBC producing information from the server. Because the law of evidence is that if you have the primary information or evidence, the legal duty is upon you to produce it. And the Kenyan law requires, in the name of accountability, for them to produce it. But now that 5 months after the elections they have not produced it, we have now confronted with them with that information. And this is genuine, authentic information, which if today they just open the server for every Kenyan just to access, you will get the same information that we have. And just to add that, we are not in the business that Russians are in the United States, but even what they do, in those quarters are taken seriously. But in Kenya, you can steal an election like this and we are just quiet. You can steal Eurobond and we're just quiet. So something needs to be done. Do you want to add something? And that question also we are asked by the observers. We did answer those questions about source of our information, and we gave it. John Kerry and Becky, they're all there when we gave all this information.
My name is Ken Mijungo. I work with NTV. That was my first question that has been answered. My second question is this: with this kind of data that you have you confronted the IEBC? And if you did, what was the kind of response? Then secondly, you word on this, we might take it, but now the question goes back to the August 8th and the court process that followed. The election was nullified. This is true as to your word, but what happens then? How do we take this forward? Is it true what you're doing right now?
We confronted IEBC with this information on the 10th of August. And we told them, just open the information in the servers. In fact, I remember Honorable Musalia Mudavadi said that if you can open the servers and give us the information in there, we will not trouble anymore. We will not even go to court. And that information has not been forthcoming up to now. But since then, through the court process and subsequently in our engagement, we have confronted IEBC with this information. And you know what? IEBC is very ready to give you this kind of information in relation to the elections that were held on the 26th of October. If you ask them, they will give it to you. That election between Uhuru and Kenyatta, they will give you the information. But the one on the 8th of August up to now, they are not going to give it to you because they know what is there. As to the court process, if you look at Article 140 of the Constitution, the contestation in court was the validity of the election of the president-elect. That is the jurisdiction of the court. Was Uhuru Kenyatta validly elected? And the answer was that, no, he was not validly elected. But the law has since been changed. The courts have jurisdiction where they find that the numbers show a clear winner. Then you need not go to a by-election. And even from the elections that were held in 2013, those that are contested in the courts, where the court found that they could determine who the true winner was, by-elections were not held. But the Supreme Court here shied away from undertaking that full inquiry. And as to the way forward, that is a question that will unfold as soon as we finish this press conference.
Sophia Wanuna, KTN News. You, during the presidential petition hearing, as senior counsel representing NASA, argued that those numbers did not count in that election because the process was irregular. That was your argument in court. And the judges found in your favor annulling that election. But today you now find that these numbers indeed stand. How do you reconcile the contradiction of your argument during the presidential election petition and the numbers you present now? And number two, the election was annulled, went to another election. Hasn't this been overtaken by events because the same Supreme Court upheld the second election? So how does the country backtrack to now stand to what happened on the 8th of August and the subsequent ruling and the election following and the swearing on the president? How do we deal with all of those developments?
You remember during the petition, there was an scrutiny by the registrar of the Supreme Court. The good lady did a thorough job, and all that she did, because 40,000 Form 34As within that time confined, it was not easy to go through all of them. So they decided to look at a few of them together with Form 34Bs. Now, there was a lot of errors found in those Form 34Bs, representative of about 5 million votes. But Form 34Bs are generated from 34As. So 34Bs gave the Electoral Commission opportunity to begin to rig the documentation. Because it's a secondary document. The primary document was the Form 34As. That is why the courts have since said nobody can change those forms, and particularly 34A, which is a true representation of what took place in the polling station and the results as they were transmitted. So in answering the question which was before the court, was President Uhuru Kenyatta validly elected, the court was simply saying, from what we are seeing from the returns of the elections, from the records which are available, President Uhuru Kenyatta was not validly elected. That was the question before the court. And that's why people frame the issues before the court. So it shied away from determining the more important question as to who really won the elections. That was not a question before the court, although in our arguments we addressed it. Is it too late? It is not too late, because there are best practices. Elections have universal standards, and that is why in a country like South Africa, which went to war, in every subsequent election after Mandela was elected president, including when he was elected, you rarely hear of any strife after elections. Because the institutions there do a good job. Even the rand, the value, climbs up every after election, because there's confidence in the system. Here, the opposite happens, because we have not stopped committing those crimes of interfering with the electoral process. And the question that I must ask you, Sophie, in an election in which only 25% of the electorate vote for a winner, and knowing that the elections are the very basis of formation of government, would such a government have the legitimacy to continue to hold on to power without addressing the question that arose in the first elections, where there was more than 80% of the people turning out to vote? In other jurisdictions like Nigeria and many others where things like this have arisen, they have taken the position that instead of going into a by-election, and even Sierra Leone recently, they said, let's address the system failures before we go into that by-election. We raise those questions before the elections. We engage the IEBC. Can we correct the electoral process to ensure that we have a true and fair election? They would not listen to us, and that is why Uhuru ended up standing against himself in the elections held on the 26th of October last year.
I seek your indulgence. One final question. You have these numbers from the server. However, a winner is declared on the basis of the forms 34A and B from the constituency level. Do you have those forms? Because then an election cannot be determined on what the server says. It must be these actual forms.
The actual forms, not only are they available, but images of those forms are in the servers. In fact, the forms, the manual forms themselves, may not be in the same position they were in when they were transmitted. But at least we know what is in the servers, because what was being transmitted was not the text, it was the forms. So if you open up the server, you will get images of those forms from every polling station in the land. And that will answer every question that has confronted us. Yeah. Is there any other question?
Yes, my name is Duncan Haimba from KTN.
Yeah, I've answered this question before. That what we have before you, which you will get a copy, is true, and you can confront the IEBC with it to give you alternative data or facts, if they have any, directly from the server. Even a read only of what is in the server, of all the Form 34As and what was transmitted from the kits, even that partial information will be good enough for you to make that determination. So all we're asking is for transparency, just like they've been very transparent about what happened on the 26th of October 2017. But you cannot wish away the 8th of August 2017. I think that would be impunity. Impunity must be punished. Anybody who wants to wish away the 8th of August is compounding that impunity. Because that crime which was committed against the people of Kenya must be addressed. And the subsequent election, which was held in 2017, if there was an inquiry of the type that is going on in the United States about what happened in the last elections, and I can tell you that if they find any material in relation to even obstruction of justice in the United States, even the president will fall. But here in Kenya, you catch a thief, you send him on leave after he has stolen, and when you have been enjoying the fruits, the thief comes back and life continues. I don't think that that is what we created this constitution for. I think we wanted to live by better standards. Yeah. Sasa mimi nina matatizo na hilo swali, kwa sababu mimi nimekupatia majibu, nimekupatia matokeo ambao ina ukweli, na haya matokeo nimekuambia ya kwamba hata wewe ukienda kwa IEBC ukauliza wafungue hizo mitambo, jibu itakuwa ile vile tumeonyeshea hapa. Sasa wewe una haja, I'm going to ask my boss, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, to come back, or the principals, whoever you choose to come. Yeah. All this is available.